Banks are headed for a big decade and Wall Street has no idea what's coming. Wells Fargo senior analyst Mike Mayo says this will be the year banks get married to technology. He joins us now on the telephone. Mike, how's that going to work out? Are they going to do it appropriately and they're going to do it well, or are they going to fail?
Well, I think this will be the golden age of banks and technology. So, yes, we do see banks finally getting married to technology. I mean, if you look back over the decades, they've dated, they've broken up, they went their own ways with risky behavior, they've reconciled, and now we think they're engaged to have a more permanent relationship. So I could take you back in time, if you like, over the last 4 decades, if that works for you.
If you can do it succinctly, Mike, do it for us.
Well, look, the 1990s, that was about consolidation, but the systems were never really integrated. The 2000s, banks had much more risky behavior that ended with the financial crisis. This decade was about recovery from the financial crisis without much, technology trust or frenemies between tech and banks. But now tech has more tools than ever before to help banks, and banks are more receptive than ever before. So we see this as a win-win-win decade ahead, a win for the customers who have better service, a win for the regulators and the society, because banks are a lot less risky, and a win for the shareholders.
Mike, tell us exactly how this is going to manifest itself when you're talking about this integration with technology and the banks.
Well, I recently went to a technology conference that had 800 attendees and 1 bank analyst. That was me. Mm-hmm. And so I saw firsthand how these technology solutions have already been applied to other industries. So you've seen it in the retail industry, you've seen it in the manufacturing industry, and as I've met with some of these representatives from the companies, they're like, we have the solutions, we've done it before, we're going to apply it to the bank. So artificial intelligence, big data, cloud computing, digital banking, electronic payments, faster processing, and most importantly of all is the governance around the process. So it's always been about the chief technology officer is doing this or that. Well, you now have the chief technology officer in the C-suite for most of the largest banks. And the chief technology officer needs to have more power to enforce the technology solutions that cut across so many different business lines.
Mike, so what is the threat to the banks here from the tech companies? Who's going to own the consumer? Because if you look outside the U.S., in Africa with M-Pesa and with Ant Financial, for example, it turns out a lot of places the tech companies end up owning the consumer relationship. How is that going to play out in the U.S.?
Well, that's a great question. We do think that size makes more of a difference, that Goliath is winning when it comes to banking, and that the largest banks have a stronger relationship and more power relative to the vendors that they use. As you go down in size, I think that the smaller banks will need to acquiesce more of that relationship to the technology players.
So let me ask you this, Mike. As a consumer, I can take a digital picture on my cell phone of the check. I can deposit. I don't have to go to an ATM or a bank. I can use Venmo to send money. When can I just use this whole thing as maybe my debit card? And
his phone is what
my
he's
phone.
talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know if you can see me. I'm holding up a cell phone right now. When do I get to use this as the debit card? And which of a couple of the banks that are in the lead towards that day?
Well, I'll tell you, I look at what Bank of America has done over the last 5 years. They've doubled the number of mobile banking users, and they recently disclosed new information. For them, and for, I'd say JP Morgan too, are the big fintech players among the banks, the best in class. It's not anymore just about are you using digital banking. Bank of America highlighted 10 different ways to be digitally engaged. And for example, you talk about taking a picture of your check and using mobile banking, only 1 out of 10 of their consumer banking customers are using that right now at Bank of America. So yes, they're a leader, but there's so far to go from simply using this as a utility to having a deeper, more engaged relationship.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.